Boston College football camp opens on Saturday, and there is so much excitement about this program. I'm going to explain to you one unit that is going to need to have a big camp.
You are Locked On Boston College, your daily podcast on the Boston College Eagles. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello and welcome, everyone. This is Locked On Boston College, your team every day, and I'm your host, AJ Black. I am the editor of Eagle Insider, your place to go for all Boston College news. Today we have another crazy big episode. We're going to discuss a few things I'll explain in a moment, but today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Make every moment more as playoffs wind down. The sport stops sporting like we want them to, but this summer, FanDuel is hooking up all customers with a booster bonus daily. That's right. There's something for everyone every day, all summer long. Visit FanDuel.com to get yourself started. All right. We're back to football all the time here at Locked On BC for this episode. We're going to talk about the opening of summer camp, which opens on Saturday morning. I can't wait to talk to you about what we're going to be looking for there. The All-ACC team comes out. No Boston College players. As I've said about the preseason poll, I don't care. I'm going to tell you two players I think that will be All-ACC by the end of the season, and they're not Thomas Castellanos. I'll explain who those will be. And finally, your former friend Steve Addazio is going to be back in your life. I'll explain what that looks like in our final segment. All right. Camp opens for Bill O'Brien, his first full summer camp at Boston College on Saturday morning, and I will be there. I don't know the times yet because they haven't given it to me, but I will be there to discuss what and see what's going on with the Eagles as freshmen get on. We'll get to see Cameron Martinez, the transfer safety from Ohio State for the first time, and they get themselves ready. They have a month now to get ready for their opening game on September 2nd in Tallahassee against Florida State. Now, on Eagle Insider, I gave you a whole bunch of things I'm going to be talking about and watching for, but this segment is not about the storylines that we're watching for. This is about a unit that's going to need to prove themselves this summer and show that they can hang with a pretty good other unit. And that's the first string defense. This camp is going to be all about, can this defense take that next step? I have faith that this offense is going to be good. As I've said yesterday, I think Thomas Castellanos is excellent. I thought Jeff Hafley did a nice job of bringing in some weapons for him, and I think the offensive line will be fine. So they're not an issue for me. I think they're going to do what they need to do. But we watched what this defense did last year. They could not make sacks. They could not get turnovers. They could not make explosive plays. They were just very vanilla, and when you're very vanilla on defense, that leads to bad games. BC had a lot of bad games on defense last year. So Tim Lewis, the new defensive coordinator, has a job in front of him. He has a task this camp, which is to make this defense explosive. You have the tools when you look at the defensive line. I think you have three, potentially four really solid defensive linemen with some higher upsides than others. On Thursday, Jim Nagy of the Senior Bowl said that Cameron Horsley is a first or second round talent at the defensive tackle position. He's really good. And he said, he compares him to BJ Raji and Ron Brace. If you have a defensive tackle that is that talented and is getting that much praise from a guy who scouts and talks about this stuff all the time, that's an exciting future that you have for a guy up in the middle. Horsley could be he could be on his way to having a humongous season, a season where he gets himself ready for a huge NFL draft and makes a lot of money. That's going to be crucial. If you got a guy plugging up the middle that can help in the run defense, that can help in your pass defense. And it's also going to make, they can't double up on everybody. That's going to make Donovan Azaracco even better. The bigger question, as I said on an episode earlier this week, is going to be Neto Ekpala. Can he become a good enough second defensive end to earn his spot as a starter? I think he's explosive. I've said that all along. But he and George Rooks are going to be the two names I think that are going to need to really step up. And as I said on yesterday's episode, if they cannot maybe this is the chance for someone else to jump up and snatch that ring. Whether it's on the defensive line, Quan Williams. I know he's more probably on what Cam Horsley does, but said McConnell. There's guys on the edge where you could get a guy like Edward Kalengi. This is a chance for Tim Lewis to find the four. It's going to be Ezaraku, Cam Horsley, and the other two could be up for grabs, but that defensive line is going to be important. In addition, I am very excited to see what Bryce Steele is up to. He's had a tough year with the recurrence of his cancer coming back, as he said on a podcast earlier this summer. It's just glad to see him back, and I don't want to put pressure on him because obviously his health is way more important than what he does on the football field. But to see him back on the field is going to be great. To see him hopefully fully recovered, will be great. But if he can play like the way he was supposed to play, that's a huge addition for Boston College. And then on top of that, I have said all along, Davion Crouch, they call him Bam Crouch. I think he's the next big thing on BC's defense. We saw pieces of that. Will he be able to get himself regular snaps this year on the line at the linebacker spot? I think that'll be something to watch. Additionally, that secondary, this is a fascinating spot going into the summer because there is like 9 names of guys that could play anywhere from nickel to free safety. And there's multiple guys at each spot that could jump up and take that job. I mean, just look at the safety positions. You have Cameron Martinez, Cole Batson, we don't know his health, Bug Jones, Jalen Cheek, Sione Hala, and KP Price. And I'm sure I'm probably missing one, but that's just one group of Victor Nelson. There's a whole bunch of guys there that could be starting at safety. And every position has 2 or 3 guys other than CB1, which is Amari Jackson. So that shows you that there's going to be competition. Competition's good. And for someone who gets to go and watch it, competition's fun because it gets the guys moving and playing at a high level. So this defense, I can't wait to see as the scheme starts to be set into place, as Tim Lewis and Bill O'Brien get the defense to play, and they're supposed to be more aggressive than we saw under Jeff Hafley. I can't wait to see how that changes the outlook of some of the players that Boston College has that didn't honestly have great years last year. This could be an opportunity for them to unleash inner talent that we have not seen yet. Sometimes it just takes a change of plays, a change of schematics that can get a guy to take that next step. And I look at a guy like Neto Ekpala as a perfect example of what one guy I would love to see him take that next step. So the defense going into summer camp is going to be what I'm watching the most. On offense, you know who most of the starters are going to be. You're going to have Thomas Castellanos. And no, I know I saw Kevin Stone of Rivals, and, Kevin's a great guy. I don't agree with him that he could potentially have a short leash. No. Thomas Castellanos is going to be a starter all year, at least in my opinion. You don't take your most talented player on your roster off your roster because he's not the best schematic fit. Thomas Castellanos is in there. The wide receivers are in there. I think the running backs are all set, and most of the offensive line is pretty much there. So just to see them connecting will be fine. But I am looking at that defense going, I want to see what they can do. I want to see what, are they going to make plays this offseason, this camp? Can they make some, explosives against BC's own, offensive line 1? That'll be all things we're going to be watching for. Now, in our second segment, the last piece of ACC Media Day dropped, which is the All-ACC Preseason Team. No Boston College players made it. I'm going to explain to 2 players who I think could be on the after the season All-ACC team, and I'll give you those names in just a moment. Sports. If you are like me, you love your sports. I love them so much, I never want them to stop. But as the playoffs wind down, we get fewer games, and the sports aren't sportsing like I want them to. But FanDuel lets me keep the sports going whenever I want. All I have to do is open the app and dream up bets anytime I'm in the mood. And this summer, FanDuel is hooking up all customers with a booster bonus daily. That's right. There's something for everyone every day all summer long. So head over to FanDuel.com there's the Red Sox games going on. Are they going to continue to play poorly? Maybe you're going to start fading on them and betting against them every week. If you're thinking that, go to FanDuel.com, start making the most out of your summer with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of Major League Baseball. Are you still watching Fox Sports or ESPN on TV all day? Man, what is going on with that? You got to turn down the volume with all that shouting. Make the switch to Locked On Sports today, a free 24/7 sports streaming channel program for you every day to bring you the biggest stories without all the screaming. Locked On Sports Today brings you can't miss analysis, opinions, and news, streaming 24/7 on YouTube or the free Amazon Fire TV channels app. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. So, folks, I've been telling you over on our last few episodes about this new subtext program, and I've been struggling with a name for it, and I wanted to come up with one. And so, I don't like the term insider because I work for Eagle Insider. I'm just confuse all of you. I was talked to a few other commenters who Superfans doesn't sound great because that's a BC thing. And so I'm looking to name this new subtext. I was thinking like the Eagle's Nest. You guys want to call it the Eagle's Nest? The Eagle's Nest program where you're going to get in touch with me. I had someone already. We have a group of subscribers already who I've been sending notes to and videos who said, AJ, this is a great program. You need to tell everyone about it. So I'm telling you now, if you sign up, Locked On BC 30 is the promo code. You will have the first 6 months, the entire football season covered for free. And there's no obligation past that. I will prove to you that this will be worth it after the 6 months. And it'll be worth buying me that cup of coffee every month. I think it's like $4.99 or something like that. But for the first 6 months, I don't think you even need to put a credit card down. You just sign up and check it out. Code is in the comment section. Sign up today. Become part of the Eagle's Nest. I hope to see you there. All right. Now, we are talking about the All-ACC team. And I was not surprised by this at all, that no Boston College players were on the All-ACC team. BC this year, in years past, when you have a player that sticks out, I believe A.J. Dillon probably was on it. Zay Flowers was definitely on it. When you have that Zion Johnson, when you have those top echelon players, they will actually grab the attention of the national ACC media. Otherwise, they don't get any respect. And honestly, when I look at BC's roster right now and compare them to the players that won it, I don't blame the media for not picking any Boston College players. Like looking at Cam Ward versus Thomas Castellanos, it's not even close. Kai Robichaux against Amarian Hampton at UNC, you can't even make the argument, right? So I'm not surprised, and I don't blame BC for not getting anyone. You could have argued maybe like Ozzie Trapilo, but there's some really good offensive linemen that made it. This conversation here isn't about that because, as I said with the preseason poll, it's a preseason projection. Who cares? None of it matters. It's all about what happens after the season. So for this, I want to tell you two players I think from Boston College could make the postseason ACC All-ACC team, the one that actually matters, the one that actually you'll care about. And they're two players. I'm going to give you those names right now. The first one, I honestly believe that when all is said and done, Donovan Azaraku is going to have another big season. Last year, he did not play poorly. If you look at his grades, I believe he was one of the top 2 rated BC players on the team, according to Pro Football Focus. He was good. He had big games, but the numbers didn't stack up. And when the numbers don't stack up, the voters don't listen to it, which I get. I think that's going to change this year. I think the Azaraku we're going to see in 2024 is going to be much more similar to the Azaraku we saw in 2022 when he had 8.5 sacks and was second in the conference. If he goes back to the way he was and is as disruptive in the pass game as he was, to compliment that he's good against the run, he's very good. Azaraku will be an All-ACC player at the end of this year. He's just got to put up the numbers to do it. And that's a tough one to prognosticate too, because the edge rushers, all it takes is one or two guys that put up gaudy numbers, and the voters are all going to pick him. I just think that it's going to be Azaraku putting up those gaudy numbers this season. with Tim Lewis and a more aggressive defense, it's going to play into him being able to do those types of things. I don't expect him to have a Harold Landry type year where it's like all American type, with, well, I forget what he had, like 15 or 16 sacks. But I do expect a much better, especially in the pass rush season for Ezeraku, and he will make All-ACC. The other name, we're going to stay on the lines. The other name was one that I was the only one that I thought maybe you could make an argument for. But again, there's other bigger names, is Ozzy Trapilo. Ozzy Trapilo is a very highly regarded guard. He's humongous. He's had, this is his final season. He's played forever. He could be in line if BC's offense plays well to have a big year. And that could spiral into big seasons in terms of the draft and raising his draft stock, but also the All-ACC. I think with a big season, Ozzy Trapilo could be in line as well. And now there's two other names that I, maybe threw around as well. Cam Horsley, I mentioned him in the first segment. I don't want to disrespect him because if he plays the level that Jim Nagy says he's going to play, he should be in line to be an All-ACC player. And I didn't even think of him when I put this together. And I'm going, wait a minute, I totally forgot about Cam Horsley. Now, he doesn't do, the only thing with Horsley is that he doesn't do the big things that I think catch voters' attention. I go back to what Ezeraku do with sacks. Like when BJ Raji would win that, when he was one of the guys that would win All-ACC, it was because you remember the play against Notre Dame when he just took the offensive lineman and threw him into the running back. You don't see things like that, which is kind of what they're looking for. And there's going to be guys, whether it's on Miami, Clemson, Florida State, that do those ungodly acts of, crazy, have crazy seasons. But I would not be surprised if Cam Horsley or totally blanking who I just mentioned could also be mentioned. Drew Kendall also, but they don't seem to respect him at all. So I'm not going to even list him. Now, in our final segment, Steve Addazio is back in our lives. I'm not happy about it, but I'll explain what's going on in just a moment. Passion, drive, and patience. The formula for winning championships is also what keeps your ride or die alive. eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance. With superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and more. Whether you're into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has got you covered. With over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die, you'll always find exactly what you're looking for. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time or your money back. Because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber, not cash. With all the parts you need at the prices you want, it's easy to make your car the MVP and bring home huge wins. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only, exclusions apply. eBay Guaranteed Fit only available to U.S. customers. This is Locked On Boston College. I'm your host, AJ Black. Thank you to all my everyday listeners. You are all my everydayers. Hopefully you're joining the subtext as well. And to all of you who are just checking us out, we're a daily Boston College podcast. We're the only one out there that does this every day. If you're looking for Boston College news, stay here. And if you're an everydayer and you're looking for more great content, check out Locked On ACC, hosted by Alex Dono. It's great stuff about all the teams that BC are going to be playing and competing against this year. You want to check out Locked On BC on YouTube or wherever you get your podcast. Now, let's wrap things up by talking about a guy I wish I still didn't have to talk about, Steve Addazio. Daz, who left Boston College in 2019 after he was fired, ended up in Colorado State, left that team in a pile of smoldering ashes, ended up at Texas A&M as an offensive line coach, and then when Jimbo Fisher left, he lost his job when Mike Elko took over. Well, according to ESPN, who released a press release today, Steve Addazio is going to be doing game analysis in the booth. So all of you folks that have very strong feelings about Steve Addazio, just be prepared that he could be on some of your calls that you listen to this season. Now, to be fair to Daz, you guys all know that I'm not the biggest fan of him. When I remember when he did the was the college football playoffs, they had the coaches room. He did some really good analysis, I thought there. I put the picture up on Locked On BC of him stuffing his face with pizza, because one of the pictures of him that I cannot get enough of. But I thought when he did that, he did a pretty good job. Now you're going to get him more often And maybe he'll be good. I can't imagine that, he knows what he's talking about. He's a former coach. He's got a good voice for college football games. I just don't want to deal with Steve Addazio anymore. And we're going to have to, because he's going to be on games more often. There's people who think that he was a good fit, and to credit to him, he did maximize a lot of the talent that he brought here. He's going to be doing college football games this summer, this fall, and we're all gonna see it. So this is going to wrap up today's episode. Thank you all for listening. We'll be back again on Monday. I hear a buzz that there's going to be some big news this weekend. Come on to the subtext, and I'll tell you more about it. Or join Eagle Insider. You can get it either place. Additionally, I'm going to be at camp on Saturday, hopefully to get you some info on what's going on there. We'll have all of that. We'll discuss what's happening with the big takeaways from camp, all on Monday's episode. So make sure you hit that subscribe and like wherever you get your podcasts. And I'll see you again on Monday for another episode of Locked On Boston College, your team every day.